Now this is Historical Conquest. We have what are called starter packs, where you have 51 cards of all different parts of history. So these are all world history. They're not based on one theme, so it's not just on the Celtics or just on science. But these ones are called expansion packs. They have 20 cards in them, and they are based off of one subject at a time. So you have World War I and II, the Wild West, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the Crusades, and the Romans. The next two that are coming out right now are the Industrial Revolution and the Renaissance. We also have a 7th starter deck that's coming out, so we're constantly expanding and adding new parts of history. Now with this game, basically let's take off these decks. I'll show you how to play. Now the first thing you do when you get a deck, you open it up, pop, the back pop is open just like that. The first thing you come to is the rule sheet. Now, because I'm going to teach you personally, you don't need this right now. But in that deck you have 50 cards, 51 cards of all different people, everything from the CIA to Alexander the Great, Amelia Earhart, all these different people, places. But first thing you want to do is you want to take all the land cards and separate those. So, all your land cards come over here in this stack. So Colombia, Israel, France, those all go in the far right corner. Then you take all the other cards, after you separate all the land cards, and you place them here. This is your deck. You grab 5 cards off the top of your deck, and this is your hand. Now out of your hand, so the first thing you do to start civilization is grab 1 land card. That's where your civilization starts. Now with that civilization, you also want to make sure that you watch what your opponent gets. If you're in the same continent, which is the bottom of the card, so here it says Libya, but at the bottom it says it's in Africa. If it's in the same continent as your opponent, those 2 lands can attack. So you want to beef up the security of that land. So you want to put the strongest people you have. The bottom right hand corner of each character card or army card, there's 2 numbers. Attack, defense. 3,000 is the attack points, 2,000 defense. So you place that down. Now if you find a blue card like this that says Explorer, all explorers find new lands. So you place that next to that existing land, and you grab a new land from your land pile. So you're growing your civilization. Now as you go, you're also going to find people like inventors or musicians, authors, and such. They won't help you really militarily. You see their attack and defense, 40 and 60. That's tiny compared to an army. But right here is what's important, the abilities. It says increase your morale by 500 points. This is Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press. Pretty darn important. So you place him down here, and you grab your little guy, your little figurine, your miniature, and then you move him up by how many points you received by that card. So I'm at 500 points. If I get to 800, I can actually start attacking my opponent. Basically, my army has to be happy enough with me to fight with me. But if you get up to, put this mark up to 3,000, you win the game. First way of winning is world peace. If you get to 3,000 morale points, you win the game just by the fact that your civilization is that happy with you. And that's done by all different types of people. So even James Madison gives you 400 morale points, and then he gives you a second ability at the same time. So all these different cards have their own abilities, so you want to read those abilities. Now, as you're getting close to 3,000, so let's say you're at 2,900. I'm going to get a little nervous. I would probably play something like the Donner Party. The Donner Party, basically your opponent loses 300 morale points. So if they played that on me, getting at 2,900 points, they would drop me down to 2,600 points. And I wouldn't be able to attack for 2 turns. Or if they played something like the Great Depression, the Black Plague, any one of these would bring down my morale and keep me away from winning using world peace. The second way of winning, though, is world domination, which I don't know about you, but a lot of boys especially love world domination. Funny enough, I have to add this. If a girl's playing against a boy and they're both first-time players, it's almost immediate. It's almost a definite that the girl will win first, because guys are, for some reason, we're wired for world domination. We want to take over the world. While girls and women are more likely to try to increase the morale of their people up to 3,000 points, and that's the faster way of winning. It takes you about a half hour to an hour and a half to play for morale. if you play from World Domination, it could actually take you 3 to 4 hours to play, much like the game of Risk. A lot of these game mechanics are just like the game of Risk. A lot of the strategies are like the games of Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, games that are really popular right now, but using history, which is great. Now, say that I'm going to attack. Let's say my opponent has Morocco, so it's in Africa. They have an army and a politician. Hiram Rhodes Revels, great guy to learn about. First black senator right after the Civil War, way before segregation. Just putting that out there. So if I'm attacking from Libya and they're in Morocco, I'd count up the first number. I have 3,040 points. On the other hand, their defense points, like the Mongolian army, wasn't the best at defending. They were better at attacking. So their defense is 1,000. And the politician, that's not really going to help you much. He's at 120 points. So that's 1,120. So if I'm at 3,000 and he's at 1,000, obviously who wins? I do. So if whoever loses that attack has to drop their morale by 100 points. Whether it's attacker or defender, they both lose 100 points if they lose the battle. If the defender loses, he has to lose one of his cards to the discard pile. Now, sorry, I should have explained this. This right here is your discard pile. If I was to discard someone, I place them in the discard pile. At the same time, all this area, this area right here is called the active area. Something like the Donner Party, because it's not a person and it's not a location. So lands go all in the first row. If it's a person, it goes above the land that they occupy. And you're only allowed one army per land. So if it's a technology card, a knowledge card, a relic, they all go in this active area. Basically, it shows you that you still have them in play, but they're not over here taking up room. So if I'm to attack, I would attack, let me see, what would I have? Gutenberg, there we go. If I was I'm allowed to attack twice per turn, so I'd probably attack again, right? So 3,040, now they only have 1,000 because they lost their politician. Automatically they would lose, right? So they lose another card, and if there's no one defending that land, I get to take that land for myself and move someone from the attacking land to defend it. In the end, if they just lost their last land, I won the game. So that's how Historical Conquest is played. There's a little bit more rules into it. That's why we have the rule sheet. But we have a full-length tutorial of how to play on our YouTube channel. So basically, just put in the search bar Historical Conquest, and you'll get this whole thing, the whole channel, with not just tutorials on how to play and answering questions, but also like Minisode Monday. We talk about different things in history, different events, giving summaries of very interesting people, events that happen. Like right now, we're focusing on nuclear detonations that have happened, and how some of them have been catastrophic, much like the 2 nukes that were dropped in North Carolina. Didn't know about that, huh? You'll find out if you go to our site.